Well, good morning, folks. Well, I'm here in Care on another gorgeous morning. Yesterday, I finished stage 1 of St. Declan's Way from Cashel here to Care. Today, I go from Care down on to Goaten Bridge and will be stage 2 of my St. Declan's Pilgrim Way walk. So I'm going to walk on down there, Coronation Walk, and I'm heading on past the Swiss Cottage and across into Ardfinnan and down into Goaten Bridge. So I invite you all to tag along with me and let's do this stage 2 together in gorgeous weather through beautiful countryside. So I begin my walk from Care on the Coronation Walk. So on St. Declan's Grove, so on St. Declan's Way Camino, 100 kilometers. Well, when I did it 2 years ago, it was a lot more because I kept jumping over walls and into fields and videoing and photographing sites of interest along the way. This time, it's basically a walk and show you what to encounter if you decide to go on stage 2 of St. Declan's Way. Along here, you can see the sleeping giant. No such sleep for me this morning. Sun has just come up and I'm on my way. So, amongst the symphony of nature sounds, I begin my stage 2 St. Declan's Way. So, for the second time this morning, I invite you all, tag along with me and let's do stage 2 together. Now this is a beautiful section of stage 2, Coronation Walk. And as you know, from what I told you on my first stage, I love places that have large trees and much vegetation. Of course, the beauty of this now is it's so early in the morning that I have the countryside once again to myself. Quite a bit of walking to do today, but quite a bit of walking yesterday on stage 1 in glorious weather. And this morning, up and out of the labba, bright and early. Now I've got to get myself into the rhythm of my pace. The great thing about getting moving early in the morning is you don't encounter any crowds. So once again, we look out for the St. Declan's circle of blue and white sign. 10 minutes after leaving Care Heritage Town on the Coronation Walk, you get sight of Care Golf Course, and it's a pretty picture this morning. This route was christened Coronation Walk to mark the occasion of George IV's accession to the throne in 1820. From the 1790s, the Butler estate was planted with beech, oak, Spanish chestnut, sycamore, laurel, rhododendrons and elder along the river shore. Today, the woods and riverbanks are home to swan, ducks, cormorant, red squirrel, pheasant and woodcock. My stage one yesterday from Cashel to Kerr was completed in the most gorgeous weather through the most sumptuous countryside that one could view in early summer in dear old Ireland. It sure was a memorable trip. Of course, this is my second time embarking on St. Declan's Pilgrim Way. I don't know if any of you out there are familiar with A. Wainwright books. There are 7 books written in the late 50s into 60s. And he was a hill walker, a fell walker as they call it in the UK. And many times he was quoted from his sayings. And one of them was, you need to walk solo to enjoy, embrace, savor and drink the peace and the quiet that you can get from walking solo. Solitary walker in the countryside. And it's one thing that I've always embraced. This morning, the sounds here are just beautiful. Now here on my right hand side is the river shore, and I'll be traveling along with it on my right for the next 30 minutes. There are beautiful facilities along this Coronation Walk as you head from the Castle car park to the Swiss Cottage. Now today, once again, is the hot up, and there's a forecast of 22 degrees. So I say, once again, bring it on. Now my old hat is beginning to become synonymous with my walking. This hat has been on my count for over 20 years. And as you can see from the badges on top and in situ, there are badges from all weird and wonderful places that we visited. This is just one hat full of pins and badges. And let me assure you that every pin is authentic from its place of origin. Now I arrive here at the bridge over the river shore that takes you into the Swiss Cottage.
It's the same old sound in the same old town. I wake up early with a sigh. The morning breeze to leave behind.
I'm here on the bridge that leads off from Coronation Walk towards the Swiss Cottage on a gorgeous morning.
It's the same old sound for days to come. I close the blinds and carry on. I'm not afraid to stay away. What comes around can stay, I'm fine.
Looking down on the Sure Blue Way from its elevated perch above the river shore at the top of stone steps is the romantic, graceful Swiss cottage, built by Richard Butler, 1st Earl of Glengall, around 1810. This cottage ornamental cottage was part of the estate of Lord and Lady Kerr and is well worth a visit. It was built to a design by John Nash, one of Britain's foremost architects of the era, whose designs also include Buckingham Palace. The Swiss cottage offers a picturesque view over the river in summer, attracting migrant birds such as swallows, sand martins, house martins and swifts.
Night arise, polluted lights. I open up and let it shine. The moonlit sky, the never light, is what I need to get me by. Safe and lonely, safe and lonely.
The peace and the tranquility here is overwhelming. The sounds of nature and the stillness in the air, and it's beginning to warm up. It's still only 8 a.m. so I have the place to myself, to be quite honest. I've just put the bird in the air here over the Swiss cottage, so job done and dusted, and I head back across the bridge and continue my trek on stage 2 of St. Declan's Pilgrim Way. So now we pick up the way marker once again. It's God's country down here. It truly is. One of the hidden gems of Ireland. And hopefully St. Declan's Way will open up this beautiful, tranquil, serene part of South Tipperary. As I walk along here and look at the river Suir and its tranquil, picturesque setting, I think about the years that I did canoeing when living down under. And here you have a sort of a miniature whitewater rapid. It would be exhilarating to get yourself across there. On the other side of the bank is a heron that now has been frightened off because of my modulation. But getting back to canoeing, this would be a marvellous river to canoe. But I don't know if one needs a permit or whatever to do that, pursue that sport. But canoeing is a wonderful sport. Here to my left is a great forest, densely vegetated. But the symphonies of nature coming from that area are overpowering this morning. Music to my ears.
'Cause you reflect in everything.
My goodness, the sounds are spectacular. Spectacular.
It shines so true. The light in you.
I was asked a few days ago when people realised that I was once again embarking on a walk on St. Declan's Way. You know, if this was a religious glow, I thought a sort of an awkward description, terminology being used. I don't need any reason to go walking in the countryside, as most of you can appreciate. I don't. Now we're coming here to the end of Coronation Walk, and the synonymous sign for St. Declan's Way points to the left. So we make our way up from the river, up through this portion of walkway. Now straight ahead is private, but we'll be going in here to the wooded area. This is my kind of terrain. A sense of belonging here for me. Nature. Listen. Single file pathway. Sun is shining. Everything is greened up. And Jim is on the move. 8:30 a.m. You come out to the end of this forested section, and you come to a road. And look out for your St. Declan's Way marker. So now we're getting ourselves out into the country and roads less travelled with grass up the centre. Now Mercury is rising and I have gotten rid of the fleece top. Short sleeves and shorts again today, like yesterday. The beauty about a walk like this, a pilgrim walk, which snakes and meanders through really isolated and rural parts of a country. This one especially takes you through some of the most gorgeous rural countryside. It's not easy going now, but have you heard me complain about weather ever? No, sir, or no, madam. The crows in the forest just back there are kicking up an almighty racket. They're feeding youngsters and the activity is hyper. I think I'd like my house to be near or adjacent to a crow rookery. Some people can't handle it at all, but I think the racket is very soothing to my ears. Looking over there across the paddocks to the Knockmill Down Mountains, and that will be my third stage adventure, traversing those down into Mount Mellery and into Lismore. The aroma that's wafting up from all this wild vegetation here at the side of this little country road is so beautiful. So this has to make you feel good. Decide and then put in the effort. It has to make one feel good, appreciative and thankful that we're alive and living in this gorgeous country. We take so much for granted. We don't appreciate really what we have. To me, health is number one. And I've looked after my health all of my life. And I have walked all of my life. And if I'm going to be reincarnated as a person similar to what I am right now, I'll probably indulge in walking in that life. So what I'm saying to you people, be active, have a purpose in your day, enjoy your life and your family, like what you do, don't be wanting too much. I said before in a video that people that seem to have everything, there's no need really to go looking for more. You got it all. But for me, if you got your health, you've got everything. There's not a whisper of a breeze, a puff of wind. It's silent. The smell, the aroma of all this wild vegetation here on either side of me, on this awfully quiet. Oh my goodness, this quietness is just overpowering me. And then we come to a man-made structure. I'm on my way. You're not going to lose me as yet. And the echo. Now we have to pick up the pace a little bit again. And then yet another long straight. Though on this occasion, thanks be to goodness, it's downhill. So it gives the body and the legs time to recover. I keep thinking about my feet now since my first video yesterday on stage 1 about they doing all the walking, the heavy lifting, and we never give them a thought. So for this stage 2, 1 hour less into it, and less than an hour into it, I bear a thought for my feet. Again this morning, we have the train tracks in the sky, all the long distance passenger jets going to exotic parts. But I am in my own exotic part of South Tipperary this morning. Now I'm arriving here at the Kerr Artfinnan Road. So we have to turn right here. And the St. Declan's Way marker points me in that direction. Now from this point, Artfinnan, a village that I will have to walk through, is 8 kilometers from here. Insert a little bit of humor into this walking video. Anybody volunteering to come down here and get down on your hands and knees in this huge paddock and count the amount of dandelions growing on this field. I haven't got a prize to award, but I'm sure we'll find something. Just because you find yourself walking a Camino or a pilgrim way such as this St. Declan's Pilgrim Way, it doesn't mean that for every stage in its entirety that you have to pray vigorously. I don't, and you don't. But whatever, you do what you have to and need to. I find myself saying a few thanks and giving a few appreciations to the various things that I encounter on my way in my life. This morning, I couldn't find, no way could I find a better day to do this stage 2. Yesterday, when I did stage 1, I had similar. So I am grateful, and I do appreciate, and yes, I do say the odd prayer, and I give thanks, because I've had a good life. I've had a very adventureful life, if there's such a word. I haven't stopped all my life. We've travelled many countries and a few continents, lived overseas. We've had great health. So yes, I do give thanks, and why shouldn't I? and why wouldn't I? But if that's not your thing, that's fine. Now, like stage 1 yesterday, a lot of stage 2 is on roadway. So be prepared for hard surface underfoot for extended periods of walking. But more essentially, be aware of traffic this time of the year. And on turning left, you are acquainted with the most gorgeous road so far this morning. There's a fine looking specimen of a walker passing this mirrored. Because I'm walking on very, very quiet country rural roads, the fields come right up to the perimeter fence line of the road on either side. You feel you're walking actually within the paddocks. It's so rural. And every time you turn your head to the left or the right, there's a picture of beautiful scenery, placid animals sitting in the sunshine and grazing in this wonderful summer's morning sunlight. I'm after scaring the livestock. If I had kept my mouth closed, they would have been right here in front of me. When I first took on St. Declan's Pilgrim Way exactly 2 years ago to this week, I enjoyed similar weather. I got a little bit of cloud and mist crossing over the Knockmill Downs on my way to Mount Mellery, but other than that, the 5 days that I spent on the road were glorious. So here I am, 24 months later, and my effort and weather has been repeated. The South Tipperary countryside is without doubt stunning. Of course, weather like we're having now shows it in all its majesty. But take a look at the environment that I'm walking along, and no distractions, no noise, no vehicles, no people. Just me talking to you, breaking the orchestra of nature as I head on my way to Artfinnan. Those mountains are set against a partially blue skyline, and they're shouting at the top of their lungs, "Jim, we're waiting for you." Now, those of you contemplating doing stage 2 of St. Declan's Pilgrim Way, beginning at Kerr in County Tipperary and traversing across the South Tipperary landscapes to terminate at Goaten Bridge at the base of the Knockmill Down Mountains. This is the terrain that you'll be walking along. Mostly little country roads, apart from the 30 minutes walking coronation walk from the castle at Kerr. Walking along here, doing my own thing, minding my own business, I had a little ankle biter of a Jack Russell trying to have a go. I always said the smaller the dog, the bigger the racket. I'm pushing into a little bit of a hill now. But the cacophony of smells and aromas that are coming at me from all sides is overwhelming. Now, like I did 2 years ago when I started this St. Declan's Pilgrim Way walk, 2 years ago, I completed 5 stages in 5 days. There are now 6 stages. The organisers, I think, wanted to give people a breather. The trek from Goaten Bridge across the Knockmill Downs down into Mount Mellery is a long jaunt, and then from Mount Mellery down into Lismore is a long jaunt. It probably makes sense to break that stage up, but I intend to tackle it all in one go, from Goaten Bridge to Lismore. What we have here is Ardfinnan Castle. I think this is the original structure here behind me. And in there, I don't want to go trespassing into private property. I don't usually do that, and I'm not starting today. But I think this is a private dwelling, but it is a castle. So we'll have a look from the bridge as we get down into Ardfinnan village. So we'll go on and mind our own business and leave people to their privacy. Now, here in the centre of Ardfinnan, I come to the Shore Bridge, which is now contraflow traffic. So I'm going to cross over the River Shore here on my way to Goaten Bridge. This is a one-way system. Why, I don't know. I think it's a bit on the narrow side for 2 lanes passing each other and for pedestrians to cross as well. So they've made this end of it pedestrianised and control the crossing by traffic lights in one direction at the time. On exiting Ardfinnan, you come to this sign. Obviously you follow St. Declan's Way, Ardmore. Easier said than done. An update on temperature, because I know you like to see me perspire. Yeah? Anyway, it's 17.5 degrees. What we have here actually are avenues of beauty. As I came through the village of Ardfinnan, I went then to the supermarket there in the main street, and the gentleman behind the counter kindly stamped my passport for the section Ardfinnan to Gorton Bridge. So that's another tick on the passport. I'd have 2 passports by the time I finish this St. Declan's Pilgrim Way walk Iverado. 2. So what we have here is the St. Declan's Way marker, a place of tranquil beauty today. I've arrived here at Ladies Abbey, and it is here that I will have my lunch. This is a beautiful, tranquil, silent place, and no better place to sit down and have a rest, enjoy my meal, enjoy the sunshine, and savour the delights of walking stage 2 of St. Declan's Pilgrim Way. Our Ladies Abbey sign with the Knockmill Down Mountains as a backdrop. This is Ladies Abbey, close enough to Gorton Bridge, near the base of the Knockmill Down Mountains, a place of rest for many people, and a place this morning basking in glorious early morning sunshine. Blue skies, so warm, sound of bird life. It is a tranquil place. As I said to you many times before, for some reason or other I'm drawn to graveyards and places of peace and quietness. Since I've been here last, which was 24 months ago, the place is looking a little bit neglected. But here on the left you can see a collapse of the church wall, and slowly but surely crumbling. And I'm just wondering, will there be any effort made to restore somewhat this beautiful and tranquil place of rest for many people? Is it beyond care? Or do we care anymore about the people that came and went before us? As you can see, an integral part of the arch is coming away from the tower, from the gable end. And if that section under the arch comes undone, I reckon this gable end tower will come to the floor. I'm just going to take you and show you what to expect when you're walking here. Not everybody will be jumping over walls and ditches and into fields and yards and so forth, filming historic crumbling Church of Ireland buildings, etc. So this is basically a walk to show you, if you're interested, in what you may encounter, or what you will encounter rather, if you take on St. Declan's Pilgrim Way, all 5 stages. So this one is on the route from Ardfinnan to Gotenbridge, which is 5 kilometres down the track. So it's worth coming in here and spending a little bit of time, have a look around, read the inscriptions on the stones. These stones on the floor here, on the ground, these are actually headstones. They're stones marking the grave of some misfortunate person who died. We don't know who it is. We don't know how long ago it is. But those stones on the grass here, those are actually graves. So it's a beautiful place. It's so warm in here. There's an abundance of wildlife in the ivy there, birds scurrying from that gable end that's standing. It's a more constructive looking, solid looking gable end than the one here behind me. But this one, I think, won't be standing for many, many more years until it'll come to the floor. It's a pity. So I draw your attention to the OPW. I draw your attention to this. Is this your brief? If not, whose brief is it? I've said my piece. I'm sitting here in tranquil, peaceful scene. Nobody around. Me and the wildlife. It's a very rare occurrence in any country to be able to now seek out 4 or 5 hours of absolute quietness. Just be on your own. Speak to yourself. Speak to you. Now we head away from Ladies Abbey, and the next port of call will be Gotenbridge. I could be the only person in the world today What a view. When you pan around and you see the hawthorn on the field perimeter, hedgerows, and it all in bloom. Now I think I'm at the 17k mark, constant sunshine. It requires an effort and persistence, but I'm lucky. The heat doesn't have any effect on me whatsoever. I walk regardless. You see fields upon fields of solar panels. As I walk along here, I'm being buzzed by a few swallows. They're ducking and diving into the field, into the crop in the field. And they perceive that I'm going to do them some harm and get in their way, which I'm not. But a few of them there actually brush the tip of my hat. But this is the aroma from this crop here is, oh my God, it's sumptuous. You can't say that I haven't walked the full first and second stage in their entirety. You can see all the landmarks along the way. Those of you that are familiar with walking St. Declan's Pilgrim Way, stages 1 and 2. I don't think, from my first experience walking here, that there is a shop at
Goaten Bridge. Because a cold drink would certainly cool down the body right now. Coming up here now to a junction, and in the field on the left hand side of the junction they have cut the silage, and there's the most gorgeous smell of fresh mown hay wafting through here in the little breeze. An aroma that I remembered from my childhood days when we used to make hay. The end of this stage, stage 2, that terminates at Goaten Bridge, you think you're closer at every turn to your destination at Goaten Bridge, but the road meanders and weaves and waves around the countryside. But it is what it is, folks. It's a pilgrim way, so I don't mind how long it goes on for, but I know I'll reach my destination shortly. The Knockmilldown Mountains look beautiful today in their majestic setting, but they also look ominous when you think about having to walk up and over them in a day or two. They become rather ominous. And the feet continue to do their stuff and do what's expected of them. So as I said, there's a significant amount of tarmacadam walking here, i.e. walking on roads. So boots with support, and good support on the foot and up the ankles, and the instep might be a good idea. So I'm still on foot and still heading to my destination of Goaten Bridge. Now from Kerr to Ardfinnan and on to Goaten Bridge, you'd want to consider leaving, or having rather, 3.5 hours or so, depending on your ability and your pace of walking. But I'll cover it this morning, today, in about 3 hours and 45 minutes. And I've been stopping and photographing and putting a drone in the air and having lunch, and you know. If you're walking St. Declan's Way on these roads over the next few weeks, reiterating, please, for goodness sake, be careful when you encounter agricultural machinery. Just encountered a tractor down a large slurry tank on one of the narrowest parts of the road, and you have to step right in, as these guys don't mess around, they keep on moving. You get a big wave and a salute and they're gone. So finally, you stop all your meandering around the countryside and you come up here, the way markers on your right, and you're turning to Goaten Bridge. Now this is a busy road, so you got to be careful. So we're on the final few thousand steps. So my destination is a short distance ahead of me. So let's go and finish stage 2 together at Goaten Bridge. But it's not an easy task today. I mean, everybody gets tired. I have maintained a constant pace now since I had my lunch at Ladies Abbey. And the temperatures, as I say, 23 plus. But when you're in sight of your destination, it's an encouragement to keep on trucking. Now, the Glenview Lounge and Restaurant, luckily I wasn't depending on having a pint or a drink or a meal here, because it looks rather forlorn. I began my stage 1 yesterday and my stage 2 today, but many weeks ago, when I knew the time was coming to fulfill the promise I made to myself to once again embark on St. Declan's Pilgrim Way, I was actually contemplating starting at Ardmore and working the opposite way to finish up at Cashel. But something in my cranium decided for me down, no, you got to do it the way it should be done, from Cashel in Tipperary to Ardmore in County Waterford. So that's what I'm doing. What we have here is Goaten Bridge, and the destination of my day's walk on stage 2. So we're here in Goaten Bridge, and the bridge traverses the River Tar, a river that can flood significantly in wet times. Today it's as tranquil as a feather.